This is the Bamboo Labs X1 Carbon. Just kidding. This is a DaVinci XYZ Pro I found used for 40 bucks. I want to save it from a landfill. We're going to fix it up and see if it's actually worth it or not, and see if it can compare to today's print quality standards. Next on the corner. So this is that DaVinci XYZ Pro. The best thing about it is the sticker on how to load filament. Aside from that, she's pretty banged up. Got some packing tape on the side. Front door was busted. More packing tape. Was missing a couple of parts I had to print on it. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to compare. I'll ring up the prices in AliExpress, show you kind of what I did, and we'll get the total at the end and see what the print qualities are looking like. So screen, board, wiring, fans, swapped out the extruder, put a rolling carriage down below there on the inside. We're using the same bed. Added a new coupler as it had a little bit of Z banding. Added some stabilizer to the carriage. Added some belt tensioners. Brand new end stops. I put a V6 clone in here. So let's have a look at the purchases from AliExpress and we'll tally them up. We'll start with the board. I was just going for the cheapest I could find, and this is a 12-volt system. And I used the original power supply. Needed to get some steppers to get it going again. Again, just the cheapest, just to get it up and running. End stops, I got a lot of them, figuring I may need a few, and I've had a few go bad on me before, so needed a display screen. Picked one of those up. Wiring. Now I needed only 2 of these, but I used the other wire just for random wiring throughout the machine. You need to get a brand new extruder. I used all the original motors. I needed a new hot end. Just got a clone. Needed some LM8 bearings for the carriage. And of course I needed some 12-volt fans to make this work. I put in a filament spool holder in the back. That seemed to help out. Needed a flexi coupler, relatively cheap. All in all, my bill was $82.75, plus my original $40 Canadian. Can you believe that shipping? Working it out, it looks like it's about $91 US with the exchange. So let's say 90 because the dollar goes up and down. So I got me a printer. As you can see, I ran through a Benchy. Actually pretty decent looking. It's actually pretty decent looking, to be honest with you, but it was facing away from the fan. So I had some cooling issues at the front. Turned it around, and cooling issues be gone. I would say that's a pretty acceptable Benchy and a super acceptable one for a machine that's over almost a decade old. Then, I got a little ambitious. I printed the NASA chainmail. Came out pretty good with no binding, no nothing. It came apart easily, so I think I've got my settings tuned in pretty good. I decided to print the mermaid. She came out pretty darn good as well. I said, what the heck, let's try some ABS because it's a chamber. So I did end up printing just a scraper for proof of concept, but ABS worked. So I decided to try Miss Mermaid again. She turned out actually okay for ABS. There's a little bit of layer separation on the tail, but my printer's in my garage and it was pretty cold the night I was doing this, so I think it might have just split. Overall for ABS, that's a fairly decent print. Then I decided to print Mr. Moon Knight over here, and I did have a small clog as you can see here. So Mr. Moon Knight's a little busted. I did end up retrying Mr. Moon Knight again using G-Tech Silk after I cleaned up the nozzle and stuff. He's looking pretty good. This is done at a 0.2 millimeter layer height. Speed is 40. I think it took about 13 to 14 hours to print. So yeah, you can pull off decent prints off of a machine here after you've put it together like this. But let's talk about the cost. So it took me about, say, $90 all in to get this up and running, which is way cheaper than buying any other printer out there that I've seen on the market. One, you're going to have the knowledge to do it. And 2, you're going to need the time and effort. And 3, is it really worth it? I've had this machine kicking around for quite a while. I didn't want to send it to a landfill. I was thinking about maybe turning it into a dedicated laser engraver container or just use it for ABS. So I never really got around to doing anything. I figured I would give it a shot and just kind of do it now and see if it was worth it or not. So it does print PLA pretty darn good. But as I say, you're going to need the knowledge to fix up this. And honestly, I have a KPS back there. I've got a Crux and a Creality Ender 2. Those are the lower cost machines on the market. That's probably what you're better off getting if you're new into the 3D printing industry. They come with warranties. There's lots of knowledge out there to help you out for troubleshooting. But if you like to tinker and you want to save stuff from the landfill, try your hand at fixing an old machine. As I say, your results can be quite rewarding. It's printing better now than I'm sure it did in 2014 when the printer was first put out. So, I hope this gives you some food for thought. If you've tried something like this, let me know in the comments down below. Has it turned out good for you or bad for you? If you're cruising through the channel, click on the subscribe button, and until next time, keep on printing.